Second. Fantastic. Erase. There you are. So, as I was mentioning initially, let us discuss the second type of essay, and we're going to be discussing this, okay? So, the second task, as you can see, in this case, holds a different name, and that is, I would say, the first trait that differentiates this essay from the first one. The first essay that we saw was called integrated essay, and this is called independent essay, all right? So why is it called independent? Well, because if you remember in the other essay, you had to write down an essay, well, following the information that ETS gave you, right? In this case, it was information about an academic subject. And yeah, in your essay, you didn't have to include your personal opinion. You didn't have to say if you agree or disagree, anything. In the other essay, you just had to summarize. But in this one, the independent essay, in order to write down everything you're going to be discussing in your essay, you're going to be relying on your own knowledge, your own data, your own information, everything you have, okay? You just have to, as I say, rely on your own information, not something else, okay? In this case, you are welcome to give your opinion. You are actually required to give your opinion. You have to state what you think. And very important, you actually have to defend what you think. And that is the reason why here I posted a picture of this man. Maybe you know him, very famous political commentator nowadays, Ben Shapiro. And the reason why I put his picture is because he's very famous to be for being a good debater. You know what is a debate? And to be a debater is to be a person who has an opinion and decides to, let's say, share that opinion with more people and to offer arguments and reasons for showing that his or her position is right, is correct, right? So as I say, in this essay, you're going to be giving your opinion about a topic that ETS is going to give you, and you're going to have to offer some arguments and illustrations to support your position and to demonstrate to the person who reads your essay that you are actually holding a right position, a good position, okay? So that is what you have to do. You remember, you're going to be like a debater. You're going to present your opinion, and then you're also going to give some reasons, some illustrations to defend your position, to demonstrate that you're right, that you held a good position, okay? Fantastic. So what about the timing? In this case, for writing down your essay, you are going to have a little bit more of time. In the other essay, you had 20 minutes. In this one, you are going to have 30 minutes to write down your essay, okay? 30 minutes. Now, your objective in this essay is to be secure about your position and to be convincing. As I say, think about it as if you were in a debate. And what you have to do in a debate is to convince other people that your position is correct, is right, okay? And it is exactly what you have to do to convince your reviewer that the position that you're going to hold, as I'm going to show you right now, don't worry, is the correct one, okay? So let me show you then in my simulator how does that work. Oh, by the way, how many words can you or are you required to write down in this essay? Well, the response is easy. In this case, the minimum quantity of words is 350. As you can see, the quantity has augmented considerably because in the other one, you just have to write 150. But in this case, you have to write down 350 words at least. Well, it's not actually 350. 300 words at least, okay? Not 350, but 300 words at least. Now, of course, if you want to get a high score, the ideal quantity of words will be something about 450 words, okay? So as I say, the minimum is 300. But if you write down 400, 450, and even more, that will be even better because it's going to be, as I say, a good indicator for the reviewer that your writing is good and he is not going to hesitate to give you a good score, okay? So remember, the minimum 300, but you need to write down at least 400 or 450 to be considered a good essay, okay? Fantastic. So let me now show you this in my simulator. Any question, by the way, about that, Shirley?
Question for
Yeah, tell me, please tell me.
for the
didn't
section is only for the in the exam is like a similar question and you decide your right to essay for the
Yes.
your opinion. Yeah.
Yes, let me show you. Let me show you. You're gonna see.
Okay.
So look at this. For example, this is exactly the menu that you're going to be looking at on that day, okay? When you come to the second task of the writing section, that is to say to this independent essay you're going to be writing, this is what you will look at, okay? Now, as you can see here on your screen, you will have two things. Here you will have your instructions with contain, or excuse me, that contain, as I told you, well, that contain the topic that you are going to be reading and then offering your opinion about it. Let me show you the instructions first. It says, for this task, you will write an essay in response to a question that asks you to state, to explain, and look at it, support your opinion on an issue. Typically, an effective essay will contain a minimum of 300 words, as I told you, and the quality of your writing includes the development of your ideas, the organization of your essay, and the quality and accuracy of the language you use to express your ideas, all right? So you have 30 minutes to plan your and complete your essay. Now, here you have the topic that they are going to give you. And as I say, you're going to give your opinion about this topic. Now, let us read. And it's always going to be something similar to this. So pay attention. Some parents forbid young children from owning smartphones, cell phones with access to internet, while others disagree and believe that they are important tools for keeping in touch. Which point of view do you think is better and why? So as you can see, they are proposing you a topic, but notice this topic is asking you to take a position because they're giving you two options. You can agree with this and say, yes, it's better to give children smartphones because they can get in touch with their friends and family, or you can say, no, I disagree with this. Children should not receive cell phones because, and then you have to defend, right? So as you can see, this is always going to be the scenario. The question is always going to give you the option of taking a position because you're going to have two different options or maybe more than one option. But as I say, the point here is to take a position. Please don't commit the error or the mistake of always staying in the middle line because some people that I have met in this part of the exam, they don't like to take a position, but that is not actually correct. Why? Because think about it. Why would ETS giving you the option of taking a position if they weren't actually waiting for you to take that one? That is to say, they are waiting for you to see, or they are waiting for you to demonstrate that you are able to defend a position that, as you know, is very important in the university and also very important if you're working for a company. So always take a position, okay? Even if you are not that convinced of the position, or even if actually you disagree with that position in the real life, if you consider that defending that position is easier, that you can come up with arguments, illustrations, a little bit more, as I say, simple, and that you can come up with good responses and good things for writing down that essay, well, go for that one. Please, as I say, don't hesitate, okay? But always take a position, all right? Is this clear, dear Shirley?
Yeah, I got it. But
Tell me.
the structure for that is different. The another,
Yes.
I know that's a paragraph, but probably do you need to describe the advantages and disadvantages for the every point?
Yes, certainly. It's completely different. So let me open your chat and let me send to you the new template because yes, you're right. It is completely different. It is a completely different structure, but here you have it. So don't worry. Please receive it and download it so that you can read it with me. And if you open the documents, you're gonna find, as I told you, a new template with a new example. Okay. So here you have. In this case, please look at it. This is the template, okay, for the second essay, for the independent essay, for the writing task number 2. Here in this case, if you look at it, you're going to have 3 parts. You're going to have an introduction, body, and yes, in this case, you're going to have a conclusion, all right? Fantastic. So please, let us then analyze this introduction. And how are we going to understand it very easily? Well, by showing you an example, okay? So let me show you. If you scroll down a little bit your document, you're going to find out that I did actually another essay. Well, using in this case the new one, that is to say the new template that I'm giving you, okay? Not just the old one, but I wrote an essay using the new template, okay? Now, what else? Very important, usually. What is the topic that I wrote the essay with? In this case, that is to say, this essay, I wrote it for a question, right? But what was that question so that we can analyze it? The question was this one. Look at it. Here you have the question. It says, do you agree or disagree with the following statements? Reading is more educational than watching movies or TV. Okay, so this is the topic that I wrote my essay about. And by following this topic, we're going to be able to see if I wrote it correctly, and you're going to be able to copy as well all the things that I mentioned in that part, and that you should also mention in your essay, okay? So do you agree or disagree with the following statement? Reading is more educational than watching movies or TV, okay? So let me show you then how I wrote my essay for this topic, all right? And following the structure so that you can see the example as you did in the first essay. So here you have it. Fact number one, fact number two, okay? So this is the first part here, Shirley. Introduction consists of fact number one and fact number two, and as you can see, a connector here accordingly. So let me show you, dear Shirley, what does this introduction consist of, okay? No worries. So let me show you, okay, here in my essay. So look at it. Oh, by the way, the parts or the elements in the introduction are highlighted with different colors, as you can see, fact number one. And the reason why this is highlighted with yellow and the fact number two with pink is because, as you can see here in my essay, this is the fact number one, so that you can identify it, and this is the fact number two, highlighted also with the same colors, okay? So let me show you. So the first part in our introduction is a fact. And what is a fact? A fact is un hecho, right? It's information, it's data that we can offer. Now, why are we starting our essay with fact number one and fact number two? Well, easy. Because we are supporting our position without even stating it. Because the first thing you're going to write down in your essay, dear Shirley, is not going to be your opinion. The first thing you're going to write down in your essay, as I say, is basically two facts or two different information that are supporting your premise or supporting your contention right from the beginning, okay? So let me tell you, for this essay, what I did, dear Shirley, was to write down an essay for, to write down an essay for arguing that I actually agree, I disagree with the fact that, as you can see here, well, actually, that I agree with this, that reading is more educational than watching movies or TV. So in my essay, you're going to see that I agree with this, and I'm going to write down an essay defending this position, that yes, it is actually more educational to read than watch any movie or TV, okay? So this is my position. So notice that the facts that I'm going to include in my essay right now are going to be supportive of my contention. I'm not going to add information, of course, that is contrary to my position, right? So as you can notice, and as you're going to be able to notice right now, the two facts that I'm going to mention are going to be, as I told you, dear Shirley, in order to support my position. And what is my position in this case? I tell you in advance, my position is that reading is more educational than watching movies or TVs, okay? So let me show this to you one more time. So what is my first fact? Look at it. It says, it has been scientifically demonstrated decades ago that people who read 5 books per year have a wider vocabulary than the average people. This is information that I was aware of when I wrote the essay, so you can include any information you are aware of, okay, dear Shirley? So as you can see, this is my fact number one. And as you can, of course, perceive as well, it is something that supports my contention, that as I say, my contention will be that yes, reading is more educational than watching movies or TV, okay? So that will be my first fact. Now, what about my fact number two? Look at it. Likewise, TV has been widely recognized as destructive by several medical experts and researchers, right? That is my fact number two, as you can see, okay? Again, more data, more information supporting my position. Now, when I finish these two facts, look at what I do. It says here, accordingly. Accordingly is a connector that basically means por lo tanto, right? It's basically the same as therefore, as we saw when we discussed this. So what did I write after accordingly? And this is what you have to do, okay? After you write down accordingly, you have to write down your position. It's very important, dear Shirley, that your position, that is to say, what you're going to be defending during the rest of the essay, needs to be stated very clearly and very concisely right here. Because if you don't, okay, if you don't express what your position is here, then the rest of the essay is going to be super confusing for the person who reads it, because he is not going to know, is this person defending this option, what option? So as I say, after you write down accordingly, write down your position clearly and also concisely. Look at how I did it. Accordingly, TV is certainly not more educational than reading. As a matter of fact, and here I am complimenting, no more than that, reading is absolutely superior to any TV education means, all right? So as you can see, tell me if my position is not super clear. It is super clear, right? Because I am making sure that I'm not ambiguous, I'm being clear, okay? So as I say, after accordingly, you state your position, and then that would be the important, or that would be the introduction. Now, as we did with the other essay, here, when you finish your introduction, that is basically the two facts and your opinion, you have to include a transition phrase one more time. In this case, your transition phrase will be something like, this opinion is due to the following motives, or something like, I think this way because of the following reasons, or I think this manner because of this reason, or I think this way because of this reason. So things of that sort, okay? It's just a matter of, as I say, transitioning from your introduction to your body. Is there any question about this one, dear Shirley, this part, the introduction?
Not really, but the problem here that is when do you have a topic when you don't know the specific for that thing or use. So because in this the first line you say como like this is for research, do you have data for research or different experience? But
Yes.
what happens when you don't have data for that?
Okay, very good question. By the way, this is not like you don't actually need to include information that is super certain. For example, this that I am including here, I didn't research it. Like it is not a study that I did. It was simply something that I added because I knew it was more or less true. But as I say, if you don't have information, you can make it up. Okay, it's not necessary to always include super trustworthy information. Why? Because if you, of course, say something that is rational, that makes sense, of course, the reviewer, the person who reads this and qualifies your essay, he's not an expert as well. So of course, he has no manner to know if your information is actually right or false. So as I say, if you don't know specifically information, just make it up, but of course, always being rational, something that is logical. Because if you mention information that it is obviously false, of course, he's going to notice it. But if you mention information that makes sense, that is that appears to be trustworthy, that's it. You don't need to do anything else. Is that fine?
Okay.
Fantastic. So here you have your introduction. What is your body? Your body is super simple. Let me show you. As you can see, the structure is this one. First, M as a matter of fact. So here, when you write first, look at how I do it here. First, when you're writing first, as you can see, it means that you're about to say your first argument, because you have more than one argument in your essay to defend your position. So as I say, dear Shirley, please follow the structure. Okay, so after you write first, you have to, of course, include your first argument. Something like, for example, these arguments can be whatever you can come up with. Okay, dear Shirley, these arguments can be anything of your own imagination and your own invention. Okay, so this is the first argument that I gave to support my opinion. Reading offers people the opportunity to have a slower and longer perception of different topics. That's it. As you can see, that is my argument. My first argument to say that reading is superior to any TV education means is that reading offers people the opportunity to have a slower and longer perception of different topics. This is an argument that I made up. You can make up any type of argument. Okay, it's not, you don't have limitations here nor boundaries. You can write down whatever you want, usually. Okay, no limits for in here. Now, after you state your argument, okay, that can be whatever you can or whatever you can think of, you just have to complement. All these other connectors here, for example, as a matter of fact, are for you to complement, para que complementes tu argumento. Look at it. As a matter of fact, right, and here I am going to complement. When people have a book in their hands, they have not the trouble of moving on to the next thing without having understood the previous one, right? As you can see, I am complementing my argument and just explaining it further. I am expanding on my argument. Now, another one, for example, namely, and as you can see, I am simply complementing. I'm continue complementing my argument so that people can understand it. And of course, why? Because I want to have more words in my essay, right? So as I say, in order to have a good quantity of words, expand your arguments. In this case, you have a lot of time. So it's good for you to write down as much as you want and as much as you can. So as you can see, I'm here complementing my first argument. Reading offers people the opportunity to have a slower, longer perception of different topics. I am simply here complementing them, all right? Namely, people can easily go back to the previous page and read again the section they may have not understood appropriately, all right? So now, finally, last thing. Whenever you finish to complement, okay, following all the connectors, you can see, on top of that, and I continue complementing, as you can see, reading offers the opportunity to have people retaining more than they would in fact retain if merely exposed to video content. Here you come to a very important part here, Shirley. It says exemplifying. And why is this important? Because every single time you finish to state your argument and to complement it, you need to offer an illustration. But listen to me, Shirley. Your illustration must have two different characteristics. It must be personal. Listen to that. It must be a personal illustration, and it must be very specific, okay? If you make an illustration of your argument that is personal and specific, you're going to have a great score, okay? So let me show you how I exemplify my argument here. Remember that my argument is reading offers people the opportunity to have a slower and longer perception of different topics. Notice that I wrote exemplifying, and it's the same word that we have here in the structure, exemplifying. And here you make your illustration. For example, how I did it. I always struggle as a child with watching the TV documentary my professors use as material for my philosophy classes, right? As you can see, I'm talking about my childhood, okay? I'm making it personal. Never was I more flabbergasted than that day when I got a book on the same topic written by the well-known philosopher William Lane Craig, where I did not have trouble to understand anymore, right? I'm exemplifying with my own example how when I got a book on philosophy, although I was not able to understand the topic before when I just had documentaries, when I started reading my book, I was able to understand the topic of philosophy. And I'm being very specific. Why? Because I'm saying who wrote that book, right? William Lane Craig. So I'm not just talking about any book. I'm talking about the book that William Lane Craig wrote. So as you can see, I'm making it personal and specific, right? I continue, I complement. My mind went through all the content very smoothly. Moreover, I was not able to understand something. If I was not able to understand something in its fullness, then I could always stop for a while and that's to proceed, okay? So as you can see, dear Shirley, it's a matter of what? Of being personal and specific, or giving an illustration that helps to support your argument. My argument was that reading offers the opportunity to have a slower and longer perception of topics. How I exemplify that? By saying that when I was watching documentaries, I didn't understand, but when I got a book on the topic of philosophy, I became very much absorbing of the content. I could go back to the other page if I didn't understand something, and I got the feeling of understanding the subject. All right. As you can see, that will be the first paragraph. Is there any question, dear Shirley? Yeah, questions? Or no
No,
questions?
I don't have question.
Fantastic. So we're going to stop here, okay, today's class. Tomorrow
Okay.
we're going to finalize with the second paragraph and the conclusion. That is super easy. The second paragraph is exactly the same. It's just another argument and another illustration. The only thing that changes a little bit is the conclusion, but we're going to see it next time. So for this time, you're not going to have one word. So as I say, please read the new template that I gave you. Study it, because tomorrow we're going to use it and we're going to practice together. Okay, so please read it and study it because it's going to be super important for tomorrow's class. All right. Fantastic. So let me stop this. I'm going to take your assistance, and please, dear Shirley, help me with the traditional poll that we always fill. Okay, please, you help me a lot. So please look at it. If you have any question, please tell me. Okay, anything that comes to your mind, tell me. So Shirley. There you are. Fantastic. So thank you very much, dear Shirley, for your responses. I see you tomorrow then. Please give it a read, okay, so that we can practice tomorrow with the rest of the content. And tomorrow we're going to be finalizing this and practicing together, okay? Thank you very much, dear Shirley. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye.
See you tomorrow.